remember seeing, I found a picture of the last banner that I saw across Main Street.
Videos.
Thousands.
Oh, yeah, it would be phenomenal. Cedar Rapids, that fire station on First Avenue has those big decorative balls piled. That'd be look cool from $8,000. Yeah, well, we can afford that. It's now 6:30 p.m. Wednesday, June 21st, 2023, and I'm calling the regular Belle Plaine City Council meeting into session. Should be noted, those in attendance are Councilperson Peck, Councilperson Schlusselman, Councilperson Morrow, Councilperson Malcolm. Absent is Councilperson Landed, City Administrator Beck's here. The city attorneys were dismissed for the night. The mayor's here. City Clerk Sandra Walton's here. I'd like to remind all in attendance, including the council and staff, please shut off your cell phones or put them on the mute mode. With that being said, let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Move to agenda item number 4, approval of consent agenda, council minutes of June 7th, 2023, and bills received. Any questions on that one, council? If not, looking for a motion of approval.
I move to approve the consent agenda, council minutes of June 7th and bills received.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Agenda item number 5 is resident comments. Now it's time for Belle Plaine residents to make comments concerning issues on tonight's agenda or future agenda items. Please come to the podium, state your name and your address. Please address all comments to the entire city council, not to individuals on the council. It's not time for a debate. It's time to provide us with information. Please address the council with respect and courtesy. To the council, this is a time for you to listen to the ideas and information our residents are bringing to our attention. I also remind the council this is not a time for a debate. Please make all questions to the citizens as informational in nature as possible. And I also remind the council to please address the public with the respect that residents deserve. That being said, is there anyone who wants to come to the podium tonight, give us their name and address the council?
You want to go first, Todd, or Bill?
I'm not in.
Okay. Then I will go. Reason for Valhalla being here, doesn't have anything to do with 12 and 13 for the consideration. What it does with is discussion. Let me see it. I just had it and now I don't. The 14, thank you. For possible renewal for approval for a 5-day Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for Main Street Bakery and Cafe. 901 12th Street. Can someone enlighten me where that's at? Because I was on parcel data. I didn't see 901 12th Street listed. Where's 901?
I believe the plan would be for it to be on the, correct me if I'm wrong, south side of 9th Avenue, south side of Main Street on
Belle
9th
Plaine
Avenue.
Hardware.
On the east side of Belle Plaine Hardware.
Technically, 901 12th Street's the museum, but they're not physically at the museum.
Okay. regardless of in the street or not. It was my assumption that the route was going to hit the main highway and then head south when they came to the old Kirkwood Tippy building, hit the library, and the library is where all of the Porta Johns were going to be located. Is that a correct assumption from
No,
the council?
No, the Porta Johns are gonna be on this
Okay,
street
so
here.
that must have been a change that I was not aware of. I was told that they were going to be down by the library.
Right,
However,
I recommended the change.
We have an outside vendor selling the exact same thing that you have 3 or 4 other vendors on Belle Plaine that have brick and mortars on Belle Plaine's Main Street. You're putting that person before the rest of your people that are here 365 days to serve you out of the year. So is there any open discussion to move them off of Main Street and south of the tracks? That way Ragbri has the right to see the Belle before outside vendors?
You know, I think we kind of had a discussion on the order of people and so forth at the last meeting, but we kind of came to the conclusion with 20-some thousand people coming through that there's probably enough business for everybody.
And
That-
right now,
that
That's
was-
an assumption.
That was,
You're
a-
also not realizing that it is 8 a.m. in the morning. Not everyone is drinking beer. You can figure about a fifth of those are going to stop at one business, not several. And you're going to assume that the very first beer truck that those people that are going to stop see is where they're going to stop. If I was coming from 18 miles, I was thirsty, needed something to drink, very first place I seen would be the place that I would stop. If you've ever rode Ragbri, that's the way it works. The very first one. Some people do move on. Some people do go down the street. Some people do see what other wares there are there. All I'm asking is that you support your brick and mortars in town before you're external. And to me, we're supporting external first.
Actually, would it be feasible to put them in front of the sound park?
What does that do to your brewery?
Well, moves them farther down.
Where they originally were gonna be,
Ragbri does not
what I
belong on
objected
7th
to,
Avenue.
sorry, Mr. Mayor. Where they were originally gonna be, what I objected to was that they were gonna be right as you came into town.
Highway 21.
Right. And I
I heard.
said, I didn't like that because exactly what you said is
It
that
is taking
we
away
want
from
to support,
brick
but
and mortar.
then when we found out that Ragbri wanted a minimum of 20 vendors
Mhm.
and we only had 10 listed, I then said, if we can get them on Main Street and get it to where everybody will be, then that at least gives everybody a fair chance to be with them. I mean, I understand exactly what you're saying. I think the intent is to make sure that our people who are here in town and are putting money on Main Street to be protected by that.
As a
So-
new business in town, I can tell you less than 10% of my entire sales since I've been open have came from residents of Belle Plaine. So for struggling businesses in Belle Plaine, something like Ragbri coming through would definitely boost the morale of staying open another year for your town. The only one saying that Brian's supporting his son tonight with Belle Plaine baseball and the brewery. I just got off the phone with Whitrock. He's actually working out of town. He's not keen on the idea of it either. I have those messages if you need those, or I can be the spokesperson for our 3 businesses. But I will tell you, as a Belle Plaine on a main street, for someone that does try to bring something into town for people to do, Belle Plaine is not supporting us very well. And if they're not supporting everyone very well, this is one of the things that, just one more thing to push your 365-day brick and mortars out the door. Ask yourselves on the council, how many of you have stopped into a local business downtown lately other than Steve? So this is what we face going forward when you're letting outside vendors. Apparently, if we're able to bring beer trucks in, she's making good bank. I can't even afford to do that. Okay,
Is it a beer truck?
I've heard over 300 cases, and that's what she specifically said to one gentleman in this room. 300 cases of beer sold at $3 a can is $21,000. $2,200 is what it's going to cost her from Dahl Distributing.
Because the application has basically
Drinks.
food. No, it has basically food on it.
Anyone else want to step in on this?
It's a whole page of food
Are we,
She had a.
This is why I'm here. This is it. This is the only reason I'm here.
all I can say is I'm trying to hide Firebox on Main. She's trying to get a retail alcohol license. And I get where she's trying to do this, fine. You know, we need the participants to be meeting our quota to have RagBri come through, as you said, but yeah, putting them before us. Now, as far as her getting her liquor license, obviously she's gonna be serving beer and she's savvy. So I'm gonna quantity. We all have the same beer vendors.
She also called us.
Well,
Come on up.
nope. We're good. I mean, seriously, it's upsetting. If there's something that can be done about it in consideration of our meager little businesses, that we are trying to get better licenses and we want to expand out the street in these events and be a big part of it. And it's kind of hard when you got people coming in and being a bigger part of it in front of us. You know? I'm not sure if that makes sense.
So if she's in the second block,
If she was in front of the music
And then the
gardens,
Benton County Brewery would not be. Kind of like. Someone's going to be upset by it.
You have Belle Plaine people here to support Belle Plaine all the time. You have one person that wants to come in to support Belle Plaine once to get their cut. That's our choice. You want vendors, you can have vendors. Why do they have to bring beer? They want to come in, let them come in. If it's all food, let them bring food.
I have no problem with that.
I have no problem with them bringing food in. I do have a problem with alcohol and liquor sales. Because that does take away from Todd, that does take away from me, that does take away from the brewery and anyone else from Belle Plaine that has a brick and mortar that is going to sell alcohol in this town. Not to mention Christie, she sells alcohol too.
I guess that's gonna be up to the council on this vote. You can deny them the alcohol license. I don't think it'll put us in a good light with RagBri.
Why?
They want 20 vendors and we only have 8.
She can still be a vendor. RagBri wants 20 liquor vendors or alcohol
20
vendors.
vendors, 20 vendors.
She can still be a vendor.
Oh, RagBri is a pretty picky group. Offend them once and see if they come back.
We're not asking you to offend anybody, and I'm not anyway, and I'm just saying if there's any consideration there, that'd be great, but we're trying to build our businesses, and that's it. That's the only thing I'm coming from. Makes it tough.
I guess without having your brick and mortars, you wouldn't have a RagBri coming through Belle Plaine anyway. And if we're not here, who's gonna be the next person to step up? You're not gonna have to worry about RagBri coming in. They ain't coming in through Elron, Irving. There's nothing there to offer. If there's nothing in Belle Plaine because the brick and mortars have to close down because the big fish are more important, then, I mean, look at the bigger picture. RagBri's once. Every how
I
many
think
years?
you're really being unfair to the city council. in
No.
their non-support of brick and mortar buildings. Considering they are the only city council in Benton County with a interior and exterior construction program. The only city government in Benton County, Tama County, Iowa County, Poweshiek County that does that. So to look at these people and say they don't support their brick and mortar businesses, I think it's a little strict. This is one issue and they have the right to vote it up or down tonight. But
and I
to
agree
insult them as they're never doing anything for their brick and mortar businesses, I think it's a little harsh.
I never said they didn't do anything for their brick and mortar. That was never said. So I think you misinterpreted what I said. And if I offended anybody, then my apologies.
I get where you're coming from, and that was really our initial concern when we had that. I mean, I think we were initially told that they were going to serve, I think, Bloody Marys, and then they were going to serve food. That's what we were told. I didn't like the idea of them being, as you said, the first places you came in on Highway 21. I thought that was totally wrong, that if they were wanting to participate and be on Main Street, wherever all the other vendors are, as people come through. So why don't we talk with the RAGBRAI committee and with the Belle Plaine Community Development and find out just exactly what they're going to be serving. But I think that there should be a lot of business for everybody, and let's try to figure out how to weigh and make it fair. I agree. We want to support you guys 100%. But we also realize that, you know, if we've only got 8 vendors and they want 20, I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to keep riding. They won't stop. So we got to work through this.
Oh, I agree.
But I know we hear your concern.
All right, thank
Definitely do. Absolutely.
Any other resident comments?
Yes. In regards to what she has said, I think Belle Plaine should be behind their businesses first. Secondly, how long ago has it been RAGBRAI went through?
12 years,
Oh, it's been longer than that.
15 maybe.
Okay, another question I have is, who is responsible for going around checking for growth of weeds, trees, so on and so forth?
Chief of police or any of our officers on duty, any council person, and every resident has the right to call City Hall and give us that information so we can go and check the
418 11th Street.
Chief, you got that?
418.
Yes. Thank you.
Could you give us your name and address?
No, but I think you know. Patsy Sutphen, 102 13th Street. I've lived here for most of my life.
My clerk wanted it for her records.
Sandy knows who I am.
We just wanted you to say it. We just wanted you to say it.
So does Steve.
Any other resident comments? Belle Plaine Development. Ashley, you want to come up?
All right, so I'm gonna start off with BioCells, the development we've got with that. Well, we've actually gotten the community to adopt all the cells. So that's great, and they're starting to look great. And also landscaping stuff. And she's kind of helped me with a plan of attack. She suggested that I do soil tests of the BioCells. However, I reached out to a company. It's called Ag Source Laboratories. They're in Ellsworth, Iowa. The cost per sample of the cost for the test is $460.25. The reasoning behind this is because where we are at right now, we had issues from the previous planting where a lot did not come up. So there might be issues with the soil, and that's why things are not growing. So she kind of recommends testing the soils to make sure that whether we need some types of nutrients into the ground before we start planting. And I think it's wise so we don't go and do the same thing again and find out that we're not, we don't have the correct soil. And that's why things aren't growing, instead of just saying, well, that wasn't the right plant, you know? So that's like the first step. And then she said, then after that, she's actually going to come and meet with us again. There's no cost to her, so she's just doing it and then going by each cell, because each of our cells are different on how they were engineered. So, and kind of have a plan of attack of, okay, this is what needs to be done to the cell, to cell number 1 versus cell number 35. So, because they all work differently on that. And then she also offered, she says in September, they have a grant where we can
provide funding for the landscaping, because it's gonna probably cost some money. But it would be a good grant to help fund that. So that'd be in September. We'd find first round in December. And then if we were accepted that grant, we would find out in April, and then possibly in that spring. So,
I'm sorry, is she with Main Street Iowa?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
She's
she
with
was-
the,
She was a
sorry,
contact from.
IDOLS, Iowa
Yeah.
Department of Ag and Land Stewardship,
Got it.
Urban Conservation. She's working with us on the Moore building too, so she is
was
coming back.
recommended from
Yeah.
Main Street, Iowa.
Bauska,
Bauska,
B-O-U-S-K-A.
And we met with Paul too. So,
Yes.
and he's a really great contact too. So we're getting some feedback and kind of how to fix these, and that we're heading in the right direction moving forward. So that's with the biocells, July 3rd. We're doing some planning. We're kind of, we're pretty much almost there. We have a couple loose ends to do. We need still a couple more volunteers, so we're on the hunt for that. Rag Guy, I'm still in the plans of that. We have 9 food vendors and possibly 6 more applications, but I still have not received those. So now currently I only have 9. And kind of tightening that up, working on signs. We have t-shirts that are going to be coming in. So that, and then also Sound Park. Working on that. Right now, I actually have a committee that's, the student council is possibly at the school is going to be like heading up that and keeping that maintained, which I think is great. So I have a girl that's kind of on that. So she's getting back. And that's it. So. Any
Ashley,
questions?
could you tell who we need for volunteers, for what jobs for the 3rd?
For the 3rd, so we need 2 more parkers and we need 2 more judges. We'll sell tickets.
No, I'm really good at that.
You're good one?
Oh, I'm really good at that.
You on it?
You bet.
All right. Woohoo! One less.
I gotta use
Yeah,
that
you can
sales. I gotta use those sales ability somehow.
You're gonna be the seller or the counter?
I'm the seller.
Gonna buy a raffle ticket?
I don't. I'm a compliance problem. I don't count.
You need judges for like the car show.
What?
Judges for the car show.
Yes, judges. So if I can find, we've been having a problem finding any type of like a car enthusiast or anything like that. We've searched far and wide. So you will do that? Is that
I
awesome?
might be able to too.
Really?
As well. So
Oh,
I'll be in touch with
fantastic.
you.
Okay.
I'll check with something.
You'll check on something? Okay, cool.
That's why I asked you, Ashley.
Yes.
Got all these
People
people.
might as well make the most of it.
And out there too.
Yes. All right, cool. Any other questions?
I think the biocells and the sound park really love it.
Great job.
I think
Much,
we're
much.
getting there. So,
Yeah. That's really good to see.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I like the enthusiasm from people, so it's great. So,
Good, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
you bet.
Police report, Chief Hudson.
I handed a calls for service list. May was a pretty busy month, and June has been no exception. I applied for 2 different grants, a Mansfield grant, and then I learned about a grant from Walmart, all places, for public safety equipment. Looking at replacing both of our video units that are just older, out of warranty. Technology's advanced, and things have come a long way with those, so I'd like to get those replaced with, we can get some grant money. And then also our radars are both, one's out of warranty, one's just going out of warranty. Same kind of thing, there's new technology, it changes all the time, so I'm gonna try to get those replaced. Met with Steve and the mayor yesterday, in our current openings, which we have 0 applicants for. We had decided to go ahead and we're gonna try, we advertised on Monster. I've never used that. It's pretty similar to Indeed. I don't know if we'll have any luck there, but try. We did run an ad locally in the surrounding counties. Do you remember, Sandy, how many places we advertised to put that in? Several. Yeah, and nothing, I mean, police departments, lots of places. It's not just law enforcement, it's a lot of places. Police departments in general, we're just not seeing applicants. Our sheriff's office here in Benton County, they've got an opening, I think he said they had 4 applicants for it. So, pretty tough to fill these positions, but, we've got 2 that need to go to the academy. One is this fall, and I'm not sure how we're gonna function, just 3 full-time people, when that happens, if we don't get this position filled. So, you got a staffing shortage, it's probably imminent at this point here in the next 60 days. We discussed a little bit yesterday too about the possibility of maybe doing a hiring bonus. Some places are doing it. I don't know if they're seeing a lot of success with it, but if we want to get this position filled, I'd rather hire somebody that's already been through the academy that can get in here and do the job. And if we got to throw some money at them, then so be it. Otherwise, the 24/7 thing might be kind of difficult to achieve real soon. So, and that's what I got for you.
I think we should note to the council, we had 3 viable applicants, but in one shape or form, they failed testing to become officers. It's not a matter of going in here and, oh God, that guy was good, let's hire him. Then there's tests they got to do. One is a physical test that wipes out a number. One was out of Missouri, and because he was middle-aged, he probably hasn't passed that physical test in 25 years.
He has 19 years of experience, and I can't hire him because he can't run a mile and a half in 15 minutes and some change, but I can hire a 20-year-old kid that doesn't have any experience. If I had one that could pass anything, I could hire him, that's fine, but the other guy, yeah. So it's just.
It's the ILEA regulations.
It's very frustrating.
If you ran a mile and a half in Belle Plaine, I don't even know where you'd have to, you'd run out of town.
Go out to the truck.
No, I mean, if you,
6 times
in
around,
pursuit
that'll
as
get
a-
pretty close.
I'm saying if you were in pursuit with someone on foot.
I know we had one officer yelled at 3 guys out running him and said, I'll run you all the way to Chelsea, and I know you fat people can't make it that far, so I'll get you. They stopped and came back and surrendered. But it's tough, the whole police thing. I saw where I believe it was the mayor of Sigourney thinks he's going to corral 1 officer is all they want. They rely on the sheriff's department because they're a county seat. And he thinks a $5,000 bonus is going to get somebody to take the 1 police officer job in Sigourney, Iowa, which puts those guys on duty, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's good luck seeing how your bonus works. And if you do get one, let me know who it is, because I'll call him up and ask him if he'd like to come to Belle Plaine and interview with us and won't have to work 7 days a week. I told the chief yesterday, I thought about going down to the Hy-Vees in Cedar Rapids and ask all those Hy-Vee cops if they'd like a real job.
You can't afford it. They're paying way too much money for those guys. They're all retired anyway. Retired cops.
Give them
That's why they're doing that. It's easier.
but the ones I see aren't retired because they're not 25 years old. So yes, we have some headaches there. We also had the headache. Our new vehicle's not in, so we had to put $12,000 into an old vehicle because you can't run that office with only 1 car for very long. And we're not sure when that vehicle is going to be delivered, whether it's going to be late July or sometime in August.
We tried to pin them down
And we
yesterday.
explored the idea of leasing, and I believe we put that to bed yesterday and decided that is not an economically viable thing for us.
If you were in a pinch, it would be okay, because you don't have to come up with as much money up front, but we're not in that.
Well, again, we lose one of the grants we use on a police car, so So the chief's staying up on it. It's just kind of tough. And in terms of answering, you know, if the citizens will let us know about nuisance complaints, they'll investigate right away. Trouble is the guys after it gets dark, it's a little tough to do nuisance complaint.
The address that Pat, she provided, I've gone round and round to those people. They're no stranger.
Well, write them up again. Anything for Chief Hudson? Okay, let's go to agenda item number 8, discuss for possible passage of the third and final reading of ordinance 23-3, which would amend ordinance 87 of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Belle Plaine by amending the provisions pertaining to the water rate charges. Water rates would go from $7.38 per thousand to $7.82 per thousand, and out-of-town rates would go from $9.43 to $9.99 per thousand. When we deal with the 5.9%, is that the rate that was used when it could have been done at 9.3% as recommended by code? So you're looking at your final reading and only raising those rates about half of what the code says we should. Questions, comments? Motion?
I make a motion to approve final reading of ordinance 23-3.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Discuss for possible passage of the third and final reading of ordinance 23-4, which would amend chapter 99 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Belle Plaine by amending the provisions pertaining to sewer service charges. Sewer rates would go from $11.84 per thousand to $12.54 per thousand. Again, using the same rate that you used on water. Discussion? Motion?
I move to approve the final reading of ordinance 23-4.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Those will not go into effect till July, right?
The bill coming out on July 1st.
No, July 1 or August 1?
July 1.
July 1.
Yeah, the new fiscal year, right?
July 1 billing. Okay.
Number 10, consideration motion to approve the 2023-2024 cigarette licenses for Dollar General, Country Food, Zip Mart, Grider Standard Service, Grider Beverage Depot, and Casey's. Discussion. Motion.
I move to approve the 23-24 cigarette licenses for Dollar General, Country Food, Zip Mart, Grider Standard Service, Grider Beverage Depot, and Casey's.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Nobody wants to do an anti-smoking campaign here. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Discuss for possible approval or renewal of a Class C retail alcohol license, including Sunday sales with outdoor service for Firebox on Main, 13 12th Street, Belle Plaine, Iowa. Discussion? Motion.
Beer tastes good with barbecue.
I'll move to approve the renewal of the Class C alcohol license and Sunday sales with outdoor service for Firebox on Main.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Last chance for discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Consideration of a motion to approve the following businesses to use their outdoor service on the liquor licenses on July 3rd and 4th, 2023 during the car show, street dance, bags tournament, kids fun zone.
I think that last part we should probably eliminate. It
Kids
just doesn't,
fun zone.
that doesn't sound right.
Just name of the event.
Doesn't sound. All right.
They got a wristband on there.
Yeah, that's it.
No. Questions? There are 6 that are going to participate on that July July 3rd, 4th, and you have to extend it to the 4th because stuff goes past midnight. It's not like they're gonna be doing outdoor service probably during the parade on July 4th. However, technically you have approved that.
I would be strongly in favor of putting an end time on this because the street dance is the last event and that ends at midnight. I think that might alleviate the potential for some problems.
So give me a time.
Chief, how long does it take for everybody to clean up and get moved inside?
12:10. That's fair. You guys.
set it on fire.
Is 1 AM reasonable? Is that,
I'm not
Todd
gonna be
shaking
there at
his head
1
back
a.m. I
there.
can tell you that right now.
You're talking about just ending the outdoor sales though, right?
correct?
That can, it's not bad at midnight.
At midnight?
Yeah.
That sounds,
You know, the tear down is,
because that's the end of the
Irrelevant.
event that we're approving this for, is midnight. So,
So add an amendment to it that outdoor service and sales end at midnight.
I'm just curious on this, Benton County Brewing isn't included in,
I don't believe,
I don't think he's
I
got,
believe our understanding is they weren't going to be outdoors.
okay,
Because of the kids zone.
oh, okay.
They don't want their brewery outdoors next to bounce houses.
I just wanted
I
to
just
make
talked
sure
about it.
that they weren't left off, because I was comparing the two lists and they appeared on the other one, so, yeah, that makes sense.
all right, so we have an amendment to that. Now I need a motion for the whole thing.
So did you get a time?
Midnight.
12:01.
Sales and service stops outdoors at midnight.
What's that?
When is the last consumption? If
So
you
it's
sell
Sales and.
They have to have the beer drank by.
outdoor sales.
Right.
Bar time is 1:45, they have to be, we can't serve after 2 on a normal night.
Right.
So they're allowed to have the beer after 2, but we can't sell them anything, and then they have to finish that beer, and that's it, they're done.
That's a good question.
He wants to know what
That's a good point.
consumption is to complete it outdoors.
Just so everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why maybe I'll leave it the way it's written. We haven't had problems with it in the past.
Chief, do you have any recommendations?
problems in the past. You don't remember last year?
No,
Yes.
I mean, it was just one rotten apple that I don't want to spoil the whole bunch, but I mean,
well,
it's all in one area, so.
So if you stop selling at midnight,
Mhm.
but people still have a beer in their hand till 1:30, that's okay.
I would say that's too far.
That's, yeah, that's.
That'd be
it's
pretty
usually
good.
Right.
10 to 15 minutes after the time that
Okay.
they consume their last alcohol.
So we're just
Like
assuming
12:15.
everybody's off Main Street with an open beer by
Inside.
12:30, or would you want to say?
so no sales after midnight, no consumption on Main Street after 12:15.
Sounds good.
Does that work? Is the amendment? We have that. Now, one of the councilmen will repeat the motion with that amendment. I can't make the motion, folks. I can give you ideas.
has to do it.
I would say too.
Okay.
You started it,
Let's see
so
if I started this, so let's see if I can do this. Okay. I move to approve the following businesses to use their outdoor service on their liquor license on July 3rd during the car show, street dance, bag tournament, and kids fun zone for sales and service to stop at midnight with no consumption after 12:15 a.m. July 4th
on
on
Main
Main
Street,
Street.
they can go into the bars.
Right, right.
All right, everyone got that?
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Is there a second to that before we lose this motion?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Now you can discuss.
Thanks.
Hearing no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion Motion carries 4-0. Number 13, consideration motion to approve the following businesses use their outdoor service on their liquor license on July 28th for RAGBRAI. There's the list on there. Discussion. Motion.
Well, I do have something to add to this too. Do we need to put a time for this, just as we did for the others? Because Rag's supposed to be out of here by 12:30.
Midnight.
Midnight.
No, you're
Stir Main Street up a little bit in the middle of the week.
Might have the wrong kind of water to buy us.
Sure, that happens on various occasions.
What time are you reversing the traffic back to normal?
Probably like 3 o'clock, 3 or somewhere around there.
When is everybody getting booted out of town?
That's
12:30 is
Well,
when they're
give us
going
a
to
dinner
try
and
and.
clean up the street.
So we're gonna say like 1 o'clock then, in the afternoon?
But everyone, the vendors have to get out. Like everyone has to get cleaned up, so they need time to pack up.
And with that many people, who knows what the mess is gonna be? Yeah,
Cups,
So I would
Stuff.
say
all of it.
3:30 would be plenty of time.
So end of outdoor service at 3:30,
No.
4.
No, I would say 12:30.
12:30.
Yeah, because we're the patrol officers are pushing them out, so we should kind of, I think, agree with them.
Yeah.
That
So-
12:30 consumption and 12, I would say, stop serving.
Okay, outdoor service
Out-
and
yeah.
consumption's done at 12:30.
Right.
Add that to amendment, folks. Okay. Now I'm looking for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the following businesses to use their outdoor service on their liquor license on July 28th until 12:30 PM for RAGBRAI.
Is there a second to that motion? Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So that's a 3-1 vote. I'm gonna mess up my notes. All right, discuss for possible approval a new 5-day Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for Main Street Bakery and Cafe 901 12th Street, Belle Plaine. Now, don't throw anything yet, I'm required to read it. Whether we pass it is another issue. Do you want it tabled, council?
I would be in favor of tabling for further consideration.
What questions do you want us to ask RAGBRAI? Can we deny them that alcohol license? Say, yes, we'll give them out, they can have
They can be a vendor for
food service,
food.
but they can't be a source of alcohol.
Are you guys pretty confident as far as with the list that we have here, there's gonna be, I mean, we're gonna be able to handle all the people that are in town as far as their wanting of food and drink and refreshment? I guess that was the only consideration, is that if we feel that our vendors and
We have
the support that we have,
We have an application from one local vendor right now.
no, I meant for liquor.
Yeah, same thing applies. We have application from one local vendor right now.
Okay.
And someone else.
But we're just approved, what, 6?
Those are the 6 that I've been trying, that I've been following up with, but I have not received applications.
You'll have mine tomorrow.
Don't wait before you speak then. Can I approach?
Sure.
Okay, I'm not saying that Cassie can't sell or Main Street Bakery can't sell. What I'm saying is give your Belle Plaine vendors, your Belle Plaine people a chance first. That was it. So if we've got to move her down, if you've got to move her south of the tracks, if you got to move her to the park across the street from Chrysler or
Yes.
Tice Automotive, so be it. I'm not saying that we can't we can't have her have liquor. I'm not saying we can't have her have beer sales. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying, give your Belle Plaine vendors a shot first. As they come down, they come through, let them see O'Leary's and what he has to offer. Let them see Firebox, let them see Valhalla and Grant and the brewery. If that's still not enough for them on their way out of town, you got big shiny trucks. That's all I'm saying. Let your local. Why?
Because they want everyone centralized.
And
Okay.
they say if you don't have, I mean, this is from when we were there on April 1st, when we had the rec meeting. They say the best success that you have is if you have everybody in one central location. If you start breaking everybody up, you start to lose it. And you don't have, because they're not gonna keep getting on and off the line.
Okay.
I mean, that's how we were approached.
So it's,
I'm thinking 21,000 people going
So I
through
mean, if
Main
you guys
Street.
feel that strongly of not, I mean,
Like, I don't know where we're
Yeah,
gonna
Main
put
Street,
21,000
yeah.
bikes. Like, that's why I was thinking spread it
Well,
out.
they've been
and
there
after the
before.
fact. Okay,
And
And
we'll
this
take
was-
recommendations from them.
And this was an overnight stop
Sure,
at one
sure.
time, and this was
Absolutely,
also a
1986.
drive-through, so Belle Plaine's had, I don't know how many thousand bikes were on Main Street that last
That was
time.
31 years ago.
how many vendors
No,
did we
no.
have?
Yes.
The
Not
overnight?
the,
He was
not the
12
not
years
the
old.
pass-through,
The overnight
Pass-
one.
the overnight,
overnight
yes,
was
but not the
1986.
pass-through.
The overnight, grandmother.
Oh, overnight, no.
But I was wondering, I mean, what is the difference between bikes in 1986 when they had the overnight here, and how many vendors did they have versus how many bikes do they have now and the vendors that they're asking for?
Whole different.
More than twice as many bikes, because it was like 10,000 the last time was there. And they're predicting 20.
and that's just registered, and so it's probably gonna be
Right,
more.
registered.
And the best we can hope for is usually there are some early birds that leave wherever they're staying at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and then they're going to be trickling in, and but there'll be a cluster, but they won't all just be hiving in. Yeah, I think I'm hoping that it'll be steady. We don't know.
I know it won't be a whole cluster coming at once, but when they come in, there's gonna be a bunch. I was at the Hy-Vee in Cedar Rapids a few years ago when I went through there. The first batch kind of goes through, the second batch bunches up, the next one bunches up. And it, but the beer at the beginning, they're just gonna bottleneck the whole thing, and then
My yard was
when
full.
people finally get through, they're just gonna go right through town. They're not even gonna stop. You might get 1 or 2%.
But they wouldn't even know that it's a bottleneck until they're down there. They gotta come back through. They may pass right along, go to the next place. Oh, that place is full. I'll go to the next place. Oh, I could stop there. That's not full. That's how it's been explained to us from the RAGBRAI people themselves. We do this every year.
then you get them over the wall.
We can table
So
this.
do you guys, like, you don't want a vendor coming down there, you'd rather have them down farther? Too? Is that
Well,
probably?
can I ask what's between, say, Grand Central Station and
That's where the
brewery?
DJ, that's where Grand Central Station, so right
For
where
Raglan?
the middle is,
Mhm.
that's where the DJ is gonna be. And then we have porta potties going all the way up 8th. And then in between, we have, I think it's the corn fetters, but we're working on where the water is, because certain people need water. So we wanna make sure that we have water, because that's only.
mean, they can
certain-
be-
To stop the train.
We could look into moving her into that second block.
Well, like where in front of the Oasis used to be. I mean, that's not there anymore and, you know, that would be a better position for us because then it would.
But then also,
Put it
like,
as-
if you look at it too, though, if you're thinking Benton County Brewing, they're not gonna be very happy about that too.
But. if
So
you
I
put-
mean,
okay,
it
well,
looks like to me, though,
in-
you guys don't want them to have the alcohol license, is that correct?
Nope, that's not right.
We welcome them in.
We welcome them
Expect us
in, we
first.
want them to be here, that isn't the issue. The issue is the order of which people are being
You
receiving
wanna know what Marty thinks?
sales.
Right.
So if we stagger them down Main Street and put them in a building area where they're not blocking our beautiful museum,
Right.
or they're not blocking our sculptures on our walls or our.
I don't have them
Sculpture.
blocking. the
Well, I'm
museum.
just saying, their focus will be on that, not riding into our beautiful downtown Main Street.
Right.
They're gonna see beer and go. At least a good percentage of it.
Well, what if we put it
But-
by the sound park? Then that's right there equal with brewing company.
And then maybe the brewer would consider coming out of this building and being out on the street as well. Even though you already passed.
I mean, I thought he was already coming out.
Oh, I thought it wasn't.
3rd of July.
3rd of July.
Okay, I was still,
But for
okay, so he's already
Ragbri, he was
outside.
already-
yeah.
There you go,
But I thought maybe in front of where the Oasis, you're not interfering with anybody else's business right there. It's across the street. You got stuff going on in between. And then you have not only just the bandstand, but you have brewery and her section there. And you're not in the way of the park if you're in front of the park. No, it's just, I don't know if you have plans for that one spot there, that's that corner, like where the chiropractor is. From there.
Approach messages from Marty,
Yeah,
since
go
we're
ahead.
talking about his brewery.
Yeah.
Talking to Marty, on my way down here tonight, like I did say, he is working out of town. I said, do you want me to speak for local businesses? He said, you can. Don't think it's gonna matter much. Our crowd of craft beer drinkers will stop in, but it puts a dent on new potential customers. I said, correct. He said, that's the only thing for us worth fighting for. I said, okay. So by the sounds of it, his people are craft beer drinkers. What I've been told is that she's bringing in domestics. Huge difference between a domestic and a craft. I don't know if he would have an issue with them set up. I've messaged him back to say, hey, do you have a problem with someone being at the sound park?
Down in front of-
Yeah.
Is that acceptable to the council that you approve this with them being in front of the Oasis?
The only, again, we're just gonna have to see if, because I know with the liquor license, they have to get it approved, so. Because of location or something. I guess I could talk to the person.
Outdoor service is approved on all of Main Street.
Oh,
so-
is it? So
They don't have to have a physical address because there's no
Okay.
physical address.
I think that's a better solution.
Okay.
I think
Do that
that
then.
supports you guys and that's what we want.
Thank you.
And that was their original intent, why we didn't want them out where they had originally thought they were gonna go.
So throw out that address and just call it Main Street, Belle Plaine, and then let Belle Plaine Development figure out where to put them. Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, I need one of you to make that motion.
I move to approve a new 5-day Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for Main Street Bakery and Cafe for 12th Street, Belle Plaine, Iowa during Ragbri.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Been moved in second. Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
We appreciate it.
Discuss for possible approval a new 5-day special Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for Belle Plaine Fire Department, 1107 11th Street, Belle Plaine, Iowa. Franklin Park for the Belle Plaine Fire Department dance event is 8/4/23. Discussion.
They didn't have a problem in the last one, did they?
No, Ashley was in charge, so she was a jack. That's what she says. I'm not doubting her. All right, give me a motion on this one.
I move to approve a new 5-day special Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for Belle Plaine Fire Department for the dance on 8/4/23.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Discuss for possible approval of resolution approving final pay application number 3 relating to airport rehabilitation runway 1836 taxiway and apron project. Questions on that one? Hearing none. Motion.
I move to approve the final pay application number 3 for the airport rehab runway 1836 taxiway and apron project.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Let's pay up before we get in trouble again. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Discuss for possible approval, resolution 230602, a resolution approving the transfer of funds. You want to go through that transfer list?
Sure, this is just kind of our final end of fiscal year cleanup of a few things. I've gotten with the Partners for Beautification Group and talked about the couple of funds that we maintained for them, and we found a couple things that were not entered correctly, actually last fiscal year, so we're just making it so both of us have the same number. The third one, that water project 2019 has been completed, so that's pretty much just the city's contribution to the water project, because the grant was for just a portion of it. We taxed for the civic center, or community center, and we got just a little bit more than what we had budgeted for. So that's just cleaning up that final movement. And the last one is the final payment that we got into the emergency fund for the year. Moving that to the general fund. Also, that was just a little bit more than, it was a little bit of cleanup from last year and a little bit more that we got this year. So moving there. Just trying to clean up some funds before audit time.
Last one for the year too, right?
Yep.
Last chance.
Maybe in the next fiscal year. Any specific questions on that or comments? Looking for a motion to approve that one then.
I'll move to approve resolution 230602, approving transfer of funds.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 4-0. We have the city treasurer's report, the city budget report, and I think the solar report was handed out. The solar report handed out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Questions on those? If so, direct them to your city clerk, please.
A few comments from the clerk's office. Our last and final SRF drawdown has been received. This is over the sewer basin project. We got it last Friday.
Yay.
So that was the final 271,000 and change of the roughly $3.2 million project. So that is finally finished,
Noting you have to pay that back.
and we do have to pay it back.
That wasn't a
But
freebie.
at least we were able to get it borrowed at that very low rate. Just me trying to do kind of my best guess at where things are shaking out. We had a few things happen since we did our budget amendment that are in all likelihood going to throw our general fund red, and probably over budget. I expect it to be a short-term and temporary problem, but it will probably show up at fiscal year end. You know, we've had so much trouble with the police vehicles that, you know, you can't set aside enough money to assume that we have those kind of problems. And then we had some aquatic issues, when it came time to open the pool that we thought were resolved last year. So I really didn't kind of budget for lots of extra water and stuff that we incurred right away, at that time. And then obviously we had a fair amount of legal fees over nuisances and everything else that we've dealt with, so. It's not gonna be huge, and I can't, you know, put my finger on it exactly quite yet. We have another round of payroll to go. But that's kind of my best guess at this time. Rut is gonna be positive, however, on an upscale note. Got out of the hole on road use. That was good.
Great.
And then we kind of didn't talk about it when we were talking about right earlier, but we were talking about the possibility of allowing vendors to start to set up Thursday evening on Main Street, as long as they stay out of the drive path, you know, just setting up in the parking areas. Maybe like after 7, after the majority of downtown businesses are closed, if that's sounds reasonable to you guys.
That shouldn't be
Do you
a
foresee
problem.
issue?
So we think we'll be okay.
So the motion,
I'm sorry?
I was asking if it's 7. So you said no. We'll figure it out.
All right,
We'll be fine. We
Well,
were
we-
on the night before, so.
any other budget stuff? Questions or comments? Now for a quick, the administrator.
All right, we already talked about Amy Baliska, so I'm not gonna go over that. She is working on with me with the Moore Building grant and with Ashley. Lance and I sit in with the park board to interview a park and rec director, and they offered the position and it has tentatively been accepted, but they asked for applicant asked for an offer letter that they haven't signed yet, and that should happen tomorrow. Alliant Energy, this is another reminder about Alliant Energy is doing the gas build out in the northeast part of town, and there's going to be a lot of construction in the area, trucks. If anybody has any issues, please call into City Hall. I had talked with Alliant Energy on our different power options for treatment plant sites. I've gotten a little bit of feedback on that, but I'm waiting for the full report to see which would be the best place financially to, if the land is cheaper here, more expensive there, but it takes more to run the electricity here than it does over here. So we can kind of have a strategy planned out for the, just have a little bit of legwork done for our engineer. The RFQ for the engineer is out and it's due on 6/28. I'd like Public Works to help review those and make a recommendation to the council, because they'll be working with them and I will be working with them a lot. And Jay and I have been reviewing projects a lot lately, and we got a lot of cool stuff in the hopper, and we looked over the culvert today. We have a game plan for that on 10th Avenue. So
The $1 million question is our well situation.
they're holding steady. If we don't get any rain in the next, we have some work we can do out there to redirect the waterways and stuff that we have permission on. So gonna get to that and see how that helps, but everything is just kind of holding steady. And because Nick and the guys have found a lot of leaks, and they've fixed a lot, and the daily usage has dropped a lot.
Powashik Water just had a big public announcement.
Yeah, we were talking about that today. They're on water restrictions.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just announced that today.
How fast can we get well 6 up and running?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, we just need to flush it and get it online, and
I mean, I don't want it to play too close to the vest, so if we need to go to water restrictions, we'd like to give them a week, 2 weeks.
Jay and I talked about it today. They want to start exercising it and just getting it running and operational. It just takes a few guys to do that at the same time, so they have to coordinate that. But right now it's turn 3 valves and flip the switch.
But right now our wells are holding.
They're holding steady.
That's good.
Because the resolution for water restriction only takes a stroke of a pen to put into effect. You don't have to bring it to the council. It's passed so that we can turn restrictions off. I can turn restrictions back on. Or after the 14th of the month, Mary can turn restrictions back.
So I think that before we would turn 6 on, we'd probably explore restrictions a little bit first to see how the usage went, and then proceed to working with well 6. Those are just the rough, the rough plans.
Testing that has to be done with well 6 before.
Since we had to run it so much,
It's ready to go test.
Yeah, it is now regularly tested all the time. It's part of what's called a source entry point, so we have to test that all the time now. So it's just on a regular schedule.
And then just keep praying for rain. We can come up with that inch of rain every week.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Our casing come up with just that rain we got, our casing come up about 3 inches.
Just with this last one.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So we can hold, if we can get the water into the well field and hold it, it will soak in. And it's also fed from Salt Creek River, the watershed, so that's a large area. So if we get rain north of us or over into the Toledo area, that's helpful for us. So, does anybody have any questions? Mayor asked me to keep it.
I'm glad to hear they're holding steady. That's good
Yeah.
news.
Mayor asked me to keep it short, so I only had about a half a dozen bullet points. So
Because the air conditioning.
I'll call somebody tomorrow.
Mayor's report, garbage bins, new garbage bins were started delivery in the south end of town.
I saw some. They were.
Yep.
I saw them on
You're on an
8th Street.
avenue. They came to the streets first. The mayor's gold-plated ones were delivered to staff.
We have Christmas trees and scents in there and smell nice.
I waited and looked to see that the little thing was clicked on before I drug them into my garage. They delivered from the south end up through 9th Street. Mosquito spraying was scheduled for tomorrow night. And then I got told that it's the longest day in the history of mankind, and our swimmers swim till 10 o'clock at night. So they didn't call that off. I don't get kids driving behind those things at 9:30 at night. Next Wednesday, after we checked with the baseball and softball schedules to make sure they were going to be out of town. There probably isn't much of a mosquito problem.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen one all summer so
We'll
far.
get the next one that shows up. We'll be waiting for him when he comes out of the Iowa River. Only meeting that I went to was landfill. They gave the workers a 6% raise. They gave the landfill manager a 10% raise, which I thought was a little pricey myself. He's done an excellent job for us, but I really thought if we gave the workers 6%, we should give him 6%. But amazingly enough, it was reported that landfill is now, since the commission took it over, has banked $10 million. That was a county government entity that was running bankrupt. It's amazing what tipping fees do in enforcing your recycling. No correspondence, no old business, resident comments.
I have one.
Yes.
You have to have a license to sell homemade items at the farmer's market. You know?
Just a second. There's no licensing.
And
Not with the city. Not with the
okay,
state.
well, I didn't know
The
it.
county can come in and make stricter restrictions.
Do you have to be signed up with the
Huh?
food or with the
You have to approve.
farmer's market?
No, you have to check with, Erica Dickerson,
In 2022,
coordinates it.
Governor Reagan, no, whatever her name is,
Reynolds.
passed a law that they had to have a license if they sold food that was made in their home. And I think their home should be inspected also.
And they may, that would be a state thing though, I just mean, it's not a city.
Well, I didn't know if you had anything to do with that or not, but,
And I'm not sure that the big cities
okay,
do that either.
all right, thank you.
We can look into it though. Why don't we check on it and see?
I can call Blackhawk County.
Yeah, see if there's any,
If you
any
Google it, you
regulation
find
that
out
we
a
have
lot.
not.
You just gotta know what their kitchen looks like and plan accordingly.
I don't think I would want to see it.
I'm not commenting on it.
I know.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor, is it possible to change a vote that I previously made at this meeting? I realized that I was reading the wrong agenda item when I cast my vote.
Tell me, which one?
I voted no for
On
number 13 for the outdoor service liquor licenses for RAGBRAI. And my eyes were looking at number 14 when I cast my vote. So I was voting on the wrong item.
So you wish to change that
To
to
a
a
yes.
yes?
Yes.
We were very confused by your vote.
And so was I. As soon as I said it, I thought, no.
I was gonna ask you why.
You're the one that did the change and you voted against your change. I'm like,
I
okay.
wasn't gonna put anyone on the, I always ask you after, the
So I stand corrected. That was just,
meeting. You corrected that in your minutes.
I've never done that.
Anything else from the council?
So is that
How'd it
right?
feel?
Oh. No. Really, rather kind of stupid.
And then noting the first meeting in July will probably be my last meeting for at least 6 weeks. I will have surgery on the 14th and I'm scheduled to be in the hospital for 2 weeks and then God knows where they're shipping me after that, so. Yeah, I'll be here for that. But I won't be here for your one following. I won't be the second meeting. I already informed her of that last night when we were doing reunion work.
Mary's got a whole list of amendments.
Better get ready.
Did we decide,
decided I
is she
can go.
coming in and doing the minutes tomorrow or am I doing this Friday?
I don't care. You might as well do it Friday.
All right, I'll do them Friday. Because I'm not gonna be here. Anything else out of the council? I'm looking for a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second to that?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. It's a non-discussable, debatable item. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. You're out at 7:44 PM. That is